Hi.
Today's stream is going to be a little bit slow.
Not really. It's going to be a little bit quick.
Yeah, it actually is. Our kid is very, very sick today. We almost had to take her to the hospital because her fever was so high last night, but we finally were able to get it to go down right before we thought we were going to have to take her to go to the hospital, and she's been doing a lot better. So it's been pretty crazy. Good morning, everybody. Let's see. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning, Maisha. Good morning, Kellyanne. Good morning, Catherine again. Hello, guys. So we have not as many viewers as we normally have. Did you guys get an email from me this morning? Because I sent an email out like an hour ago, and I want to make sure that nothing happened to
Am
that.
I on that list?
On what? On my email list?
For that particular set of emails?
Did you subscribe to the Handmade Alpha VIPs to sign up for my free ebook, which covers how to gain a fanatical following of fans on Facebook?
I'm kind of dating the owner.
The dating? We're just dating?
Mm-hmm.
We're not married?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, that wasn't a marketing pitch for you guys to join the Handmade Alpha VIPs. However, if you didn't, it's down below. He genuinely doesn't know if he's joined our own Handmade Alpha community. Hello, everybody. Good morning, Hannah, Susan, Deborah. There's everybody. Everybody's rolling in. As always, no email.
Some got it and some didn't.
That's so weird.
Oh, so, some got it, then the rest of you, it either didn't send or it went into your spam drive there.
Yeah, be sure to check your spam folders. And if I'm popping up in your spam, you need to either mark me as a contact. That kind of helps. That way, your email service knows that we're friends and I'm sending you things, because usually when I send links like to the live streams or my ebook, for example, sometimes those go into spam because
I got it just as you came on.
Oh, really? That is.
MailChimp's been stupid lately. Sorry if I'm a little congested today. I was up till 4 a.m. taking care of the kiddo.
Yeah, I got it as you came on. No email, just a YouTube alert. Got it. Oh man, I wonder what's going on, because I like double checked to make sure that I scheduled it as at the right time. MailChimp is acting kind of weird, so if you got it, let me know. Maybe let me know. Did you get it an hour ago? Because it was supposed to send out an hour before. But how do I change
my email address in there?
Don't change it, Lisa. Just resubscribe with the new email address. If you guys are using a new email address, just find the Handmade Alpha VIPs link below and resubscribe again.
Maybe we should start sending it an hour early, because everybody's saying they got it 2 minutes before. Maybe that MailChimp is just being slow to deliver the campaigns on Friday because they're busy.
That might be it. Yeah.
Maybe we'll go ahead and start scheduling them an hour earlier. That way you actually get them in time.
Yeah, because I scheduled it for 11.
Yeah, I know.
11.
We schedule for 11 every week.
That's so weird.
Yeah, everybody's saying they got it a few minutes ago. Okay, we'll start scheduling it for 2 hours beforehand then, just to make it easier.
Yeah, because by now we usually have like 150 people hanging out with us for the pre.
No,
the pre-stream.
No, the pre-stream's usually 70 to 75.
Odd. Oh, well, I guess now we know. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the meat and potatoes down below. I will have a time card for the replay, but for everybody else, I do apologize. And I don't know what the heck is going on with MailChimp today, but I'm going to go ahead and email them right after we end here to make sure that there's nothing that we should all know about. Since
if you're having any issues seeing us, but you can hear us, refresh. That should fix it.
Yeah, because
YouTube live streams can be funky sometimes.
Yeah, because most of you guys, I'm assuming, can see us since you're complimenting my beautiful hat. So if you can't see us, then you're one of the few who can't, and you need to refresh. So let's go ahead. We'll just leave off where we are. Let's see. Chris, hi from the UK. Not at the gym tonight, just home chilling with you guys on the TV. Yeah, we need to get back in the gym too. It's been a busy last few weeks.
Months.
Yeah, no kidding. Sitting in the waiting room at the doctor with grumpy hubby. Oh no, I hope that everything's okay. Can't see video. Oh yeah, that's what you just read. So I got a notice on my phone from YouTube 30 minutes ago. Well, that's good. That's because you guys clicked probably clicked the bell icon that is down below. So when you guys subscribe to the channel, you guys can click that little bell icon, and then YouTube will notify you, especially if you have the YouTube app on your phone. They'll actually notify you when we're going to go live. And if we've got the live stream scheduled, it should notify you about 30 minutes before we start. So that's another way to make sure that you can see and hear us. But usually these are the same time every single Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. So if for any reason MailChimp goofs up, that's why. What are you doing?
There's a thing on my screen.
A thing on your screen. It's me.
Hi from Italy. I want to go to Italy. I want to go there.
All right, guys. Yep, YouTube, but no email. Man, that stinks. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Well, that kind of took up a majority of our 10-minute pre-stream
We
intro.
still got a few minutes.
Yeah, just a few. So today our topic is going to be target market. And I told you guys that if you need to take notes on anything that I'm going to be kind of going over, these are mainly just going to be target market basics. You might have heard them, you might have not. I'm going to give you guys some of my experience with finding my target market and how I personally kind of recommend identifying a target market, and maybe my advice. Maybe you've heard it before, maybe you haven't. So if you want to take notes on it right now, it'd be a great time to grab yourself a pen and a notebook, because I'm not 100% sure if this has been covered yet by any other Etsy-based channels, but we're going to do our best.
And if you end up missing something, there should be a replay. So don't worry. You can go back and get the information if you have to.
Yes, absolutely. And to access that replay link, you can either go right to my channel and find this video again, or when you guys get the emails, if they come late, who knows? Those emails will have the link to the stream, but if you click on it, it will also take you to the replay. That way you don't lose it. It should already be in your email if you're subscribed whenever those emails decide that they're going to send. So
Phone won't allow me to mail you the shot of your Etsy shop photo. Been trying. Oh, she's talking about the one that was cut off. Yeah, it looked totally normal to us. I don't know why it would be doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can always tweak it. There's a couple people who say on their devices that the bottom, we're talking about the video, how to turn views into sales, which I posted 2 weeks ago. And there's a cool little graphic that you can design to put in the last photo slot of your listings. But a couple people say that on their devices, if you put any text at the bottom of that, some devices are cutting that off where others aren't. So that's really frustrating, because unless I'm able to see what device you guys are viewing and how far up it's getting cut off, it's really hard for me to be able to give you guys advice on what size to use.
Yeah, and if you're using an app, I mean, apps aren't always optimized for every device. So sometimes you can have things cut off or overlapping or doing something like that. So I'm not sure why, because on all of our stuff it looks totally fine.
Yeah, we checked on multiple devices. His screen is like, how many inches is this screen? It's like a bent, curved monitor.
31 inch, I think.
Yeah, it's like bigger than like most TVs. So, but anyway, guys, so today I'm wearing my beautiful hat that we posted a video on yesterday. We did another weird stuff on Etsy series. And this hat is from Obey My Brain. I thought that I would go ahead and give him one last shout out, because I love his shop. His branding was phenomenal. Did anybody go back and look at his shop or his branding? Post down in the comments if you looked at his photos and what you thought of them, because they were hilarious. Are you hearing that noise too?
Yeah, I'm hearing the child crying. She's fine.
Maybe you should go check.
Maybe she's fine.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Taylor's not feeling very well today, and everything is very upsetting to her. Just got your email, my tablet. Okay, so it was a tablet. All right, well, that makes sense. Maybe I'll check it on my phone and make sure that, maybe I'll be able to see what you're talking about from my phone, and I'll check it out. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Target market, yay! Everybody hears about it. Not many people know how to find it. So we're going to go over that today, along with a couple big mistakes that I made. Ooh, I'm really hot. Now my hair is crazy. We're going to go over a few mistakes that I made when I first started my business, because at first, I didn't know what target market was. So that was my first mistake. I had no idea who my target market was, how to find them, how to engage with them, how to market to them. In fact, the idea that I had for my target market was completely wrong. I thought I knew who I was selling to, but I didn't. And I found that out later on. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Yay, target market. Yeah, Taylor, she gets very overwhelmed easily. And it sounds like she gets frustrated at things. Like when she's playing with toys and just little things, she'll get frustrated.
Ooh, yeah.
And she'll like start crying, but then she just stops. So I think it's more of like she's trying to get that reaction out of us when she's doing something, that she can do on her own, because she's going to be turning 6 this month. So I don't want anybody to think that we're just neglecting
she's
her.
fine. She's totally fine.
This is a normal.
She can get her
occurrence.
own drinks, get her own food. She's totally self-sufficient.
Yeah.
She's fine.
And she knows that she can come down here if she needs us. Yeah. So usually for the parents out there, you can't respond to every single time that they get flustered. They got to learn to work those things out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's talk about target markets. What is a target market? Does anybody here not know what a target market is? Because
That's where you go to buy targets.
no, it's when you go to Target and to find a
Just
market.
stop. You lost. I won that joke.
I failed today.
Tired dad won.
Tired dad won. I'm tired too. It's been a crazy night. But
Except she went to sleep like 4 hours before me, but whatever.
I slept on the couch. He stayed up. Isn't that amazing? Isn't he a great husband? He stayed up with the sick
And she
child.
let me sleep in an hour later than her. It's cool.
Yeah, it's a mutual exchange. No clue. Okay, so your target market. These are the people that you want to sell to, because you cannot sell to everybody. Not everybody wants your products. And when you're just spouting out marketing at everybody, trying to appeal anybody, look at me. You're not going to appeal to anyone, because it's just not an effective way to market. It would be like if, for example, let me see. You're standing in the middle of a huge crowd. I need a tissue. My nose itches. You're standing in the middle of a huge crowd and you're just screaming, buy my jewelry, buy my jewelry, but buy my jewelry, buy my jewelry. See, nobody's going to buy your jewelry. That's just weird. But when you have that target market, you know exactly the type of people who buy your jewelry. Say that you make, we'll say teething necklaces, for example, the actual teething necklaces for mothers to wear so their babies can teeth on them while they're holding them. If you make teething necklaces, you're not going to try to sell that to everybody. I wouldn't try to sell that to him. I wouldn't try to sell that to grandpa fisherman. I wouldn't try to sell that to, a teenage boy who's like 14 years old and plays video games all the time. Like, that's not who I would try to sell a teething necklace to. So trying to market your products to every single person in the world isn't an effective marketing strategy. What is an effective marketing strategy is for that seller who sells teething necklaces to say, okay, well, who's going to buy my products? Probably mothers, but even that's a little bit too broad, because some mothers might not be into it. So what about mothers of children birth to age, we'll say 1.5, 2, whenever you stop kangaroo carrying your baby, those are the type of ideal people that someone selling that necklace would try to appeal to. Mm-hmm. So you have to identify the type of person that you're going to try to appeal to with your own marketing, and the type of products that you're going to, that you create. What type of person is actually going to be buying those products? So basically, you don't want to try to appeal to everyone, or else you're just going to appeal to nobody at all. And I mean, I've experienced so many brands that do this where I ask them, who is that
for?
Right. Who did you have?
Especially mainstream brands. In the handmade community, it's not as frequent, believe it or not. It's usually in the industrial industry, like the mass manufacturing industry. And you go to Walmart or Target or something like that. You look at a product and you're like, who were you thinking was going to buy that? And then it's there for 6 months and then it's on sale for $1.
Right. As seen on TV products.
And this is a manufacturing level kind of thing. So somebody thought of this, made a prototype, brought it to that manufacturer and said, do you want this? And they were like, yes, we want that. And what is that process there?
We watch so many weird product videos. We love watching weird as seen on TV product videos. And there's so many of them.
My favorite are the nose and ear trimmers. Ow!
Yeah, you watch the as seen on TV infomercial, sticking a whole pair of scissors up their nose, trying to advertise their convenient nose trimmer, which that actually does have a market. They know who their target market is. It's guys like you with
I'm hairy,
big long nose hairs.
But Kristen Homan asked if we like the chairs. Yes, DX Racer makes great chairs. Just keep in mind when you're buying them, they have different recommendations for
a size guide
and a weight guide. So if you weigh too little or you weigh too much, a specific chair might not be for you. If you're too tall or too short, like this chair, I got this chair on purpose, but this specific chair is meant for people 6'6", 350 pounds or more, and obviously I'm neither of those things.
He
but
likes to sit Indian style,
I like
like
to sit-
cross-legged.
that's insensitive. I like to sit
Pretzel.
I like to sit pretzel style.
Pretzel.
And this chair being for somebody who's almost 400 pounds, up to 500 pounds, this is a comfy chair. But anyway,
see, they had a target market in mind, and you didn't necessarily.
fat, extremely tall gamers.
Yeah, well, but you know, the guys that just want to lean all the way back and never move, and you know, but
Well, I mean, that's the fun thing about this chair, and why DX Racer is so popular, is you can put the chair all the way back, let it go, and lean all the way back, and no matter what I do, I won't fall over. Yay!
just a little pudgy, just a little bit. But anyway, guys, all right. So
These
back
can't fall over unless you force them to. Standing up, they do not fall over.
Oh, all right. So back to target market. Basically, so here's a really cool example that I heard. I can't remember the name of the marketer who did this example. I think it was a blogger actually who was trying to promote how to market to your blogs, because blogs have to have target market too. You know, anytime you're creating our YouTube channel, we have a target market. It is Etsy sellers or handmade sellers.
I had a friggin' cigar blog for a while. I had a few people that subscribed to.
Yeah, you see, but he had a very, there was somebody in mind. You have to have somebody in mind. You can't just create something because you want to create something. You can't.
I mean, you can, just don't expect it to sell.
Right, exactly. Don't expect your marketing efforts to be effective. So, for example, and this is the example that I can't remember who did it, but they compared it to standing and just yelling, like, buy my stuff. Out here, just out into the void. You're just yelling into a void. But when you have a target market in mind and you have them collected through things like an email list, a Facebook group, social media profiles, those are all ways to capture your target market. That way you can always market to them because you know exactly where they are. So it's the difference between me yelling out here, buy my jewelry, to me saying, hi, I make jewelry. You want to buy it? And he would be my ideal target market. Not really.
Some random chick just came up to me and started rubbing my arm and said she made jewelry. I might call the police.
Oh,
that's a bit scary, especially looking me straight in the eyes.
He always ruins my metaphors.
Is jewelry like an adult joke? I don't. What's happening?
he's ruining my metaphor.
She sells beads.
But
anyway,
the sloth is from Obey My Brain. Watch the last video. I uploaded a video last night and it talks about the sloth.
Watch the video, give it a thumbs up, share it
with all your friends. And so another great example of this whole target market thing, and I'm going to get into how to find them in just a minute, but I want to make sure that my metaphors aren't being ruined again.
Oh, we're going to do another adult stream?
No, we're good. Last week's stream.
Should I demonetize another video?
Please don't. Please don't. So another great example that I think that it really stuck out in my mind, and we'll do this like a quiz style. Get ready to type. I'm going to ask you guys a question. If I said that I had a cookbook, like I wrote a cookbook and I'm selling a cookbook, who do you think the target market for this cookbook would be? So type down in the comments real quick. Who do you think the target market for a cookbook would be? And keep in mind, cookbook is very broad, but just take a guess at who would buy a cookbook. Who would buy a cookbook?
Naked cat said adult.
What? Naked cat?
Naked cat.
Oh, naked cat. Do you have a bald kitty? It depends what kind of cookbooks you are thinking.
Moms and Housewives. God, it's 2018. Really? Come on.
Don't offend us millennials here. No, that's good. That's exactly what I was. Moms with families.
When we got together, this girl couldn't cook a ramen noodle right. So
stay-at-home moms, newly single parent dads. That's a good one. College students living on their own, busy working moms. Okay, so most people said moms, people trying to cook for their family. Now, I'm going to turn the tables a little bit. We're going to do this twice. So now it's not just a cookbook. It's only about burgers. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to be guys, though. Who
weird uncles.
Who eats a burger? Who eats a burger? Moms can make burgers. I've eaten burgers.
No, they can't. Weird uncles.
Weird uncles. Everybody can eat a burger. It's just a burger, Who do you think?
Anybody can make a burger. Only dads can make a burger, right?
Only dads can all stand around a grill and supervise the burger and compliment the burger. Yeah, that's a good piece of meat.
Only if it's another dad cooking it.
Be sure to flip that one over there. Yeah.
If it's a mom cooking it, you gotta You got to offend the burger.
Zero
Dirty burger.
carbers. Oh, we were zero carbers there for a while. People who like outdoors, dads who barbecue, everyone who loves burgers. People that
Nobody does the zero carb thing right, though. Tell you, being a nutritionist here, nobody does that right.
Yeah, a lot of people do it really wrong, and it makes them very
Like, if you want to do true keto, it's just chicken and oil. Like, that's all you eat. It's plain white chicken with macadamia nut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, that kind of thing.
Believe it or not, he really is a nutritionist. Like,
yeah,
you literally.
All these people making like when we started keto, before we knew what we were doing, we made like jalapeno poppers with like just cheese and bacon. Like, it was just all fat. And then you realize that
keto bombs, burgers. Okay, so grill people who just got a grill, dads who barbecue,
tailgate parties.
Oh, tailgate parties. So mostly, so you guys are kind of, it's about an even mix, men and women. I'm going to niche it down one last time, and then you guys can stop typing because I know that I'm driving you guys crazy. Now we're going to talk about the title of the book. The title of the book is Badass Barbecue Burgers, and there's like flames on the cover. Who is Badass Barbecue Burgers for?
That's definitely for the weird uncle.
The weird
That's definitely for the creepy uncle that wears like super short shorts, but wears an apron to grill, and the apron's longer than the shorts.
We'll just kiss the cook on it.
He's not quite fat, but he has that beer belly and beer boobs that like weird uncles get. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Y'all have weird uncles. Everybody has a weird uncle.
Yeah, we've got weird uncles. So macho men, biker dads, stay-at-home moms.
Stay-at-home moms. Yeah. Anytime she looks for a recipe, that's the kind of crap she looks for.
Grillers. Yeah, men who ride motorcycles and drink Budweiser and have tattoos. That's us. Yeah, see, and do you see how fast that changed? How middle-aged men who have time to grill and also want to feel manly about cooking. Oh, see, everybody, poor people who are watching the replay aren't seeing this, so we have to read it.
Most guys want to feel manly about cooking, and then I get in front of the griddle, and it's like, I just go all fancy with a little sprinkle of garlic and blah, blah, blah.
I'm like, sweetie, what do we need for this recipe? We need a bay leaf and some cardamom. And I'm like, all right.
I'm a good cook, yo.
Nakey Cat says beer boob Uncle Bob. Yep, every family.
Everybody has one.
Yep, every family. And he's really proud about it. Like, it's not an insult to him.
And he's not fat. Like, he doesn't have wide hips or a fat butt or fat legs. He's just got a beer belly and beer boobs.
Uncle Bob. I love Uncle Bob.
The only part of his belly that mushrooms out of his pants is the front.
And the thing is, Uncle Bob wouldn't be offended by this because Uncle Bob embraces this. That's just who Uncle Bob is, and he's
Listen
proud.
to AC/DC the whole time at the family reunion.
Yeah.
Cranked at max volume by the grill.
Uncle Bob. All right, guys. So you guys got that, though. So we started out when I said a cookbook, you guys automatically assumed housewives, cookbook, housewives. But because we niched it down so far to the point where we had a cookbook called Badass Burgers, do you see how a creator of that book could cater their cookbook to a market that would, that you wouldn't normally think of for a cookbook? They niched down cookbooks so far that they were able to grab an audience that you just described, big, the biker guys, the tattoo guys, the ones who just want to grill and live the good life. That's the type of person that this, author or whoever wrote this cookbook is going to want to try to sell their books to. And they did this by creating a really great title that's going to appeal to that type of person, catering maybe the actual recipes to that type of person, and maybe catering the cover of the book, because I described it maybe having like flames and, just looking really cool. So those are all things that you have to think about and keep in mind when you're thinking about your own target market. So what are those triggers that are going to excite your target market? What is going to stick out to them? One really cool example that I like to use when it comes to target market is there are, let's see, what is it? Okay. So say that you're driving down a big, long country road, and you guys might have heard this before, but bear with me because I've said it probably 10 times now. Imagine that you're driving down a big, long country road, okay? And there are obviously billboards down the side of the road, and you just see all these random billboards for restaurants and hotels and da-da-da-da-da. Are you going to remember any of those billboards? Like, is any of that going to really stand out to you unless you're starving or you need a hotel for the night? You're just going on a road trip. You already ate. You don't need any of that. So none of that is really going to stick out to you. But if you're driving down that same road and you see a billboard for your favorite band or your favorite musician, just right big on the side of the road, that's going to grab your attention. That is going to stand out to you, and that is going to excite you. You're going to probably remember it. And that's kind of what you have to do with your marketing. So that would be an example of, you are that, whoever is advertising that band, you are their target market because you belong to, the small group of people who like that band. So, they're not trying to say everybody come see this band. They're trying to appeal to the people who specifically like that musician, if that makes any sense at all. So, but like I said, that's just another example. When you start out, it's a lot harder though. And this is where we're going to start talking about how to find that target market, because starting out, you don't know who your target market is. You have no idea. And most big businesses create products a lot different than small businesses. Most big businesses decide that they're going to be entrepreneurs. They'd say, you know what, I'm going to start a business. What's a problem? What's a big problem in the world that I can solve? And for example, if we're talking about, we'll use we're working on the Handmade Alpha Academy, for example. I created Handmade Alpha Academy because am creating Handmade Alpha Academy because I'm sick and tired of the lack of resources that are out there for Etsy sellers. And I am sick and tired of Etsy themselves not creating quality content for its sellers, and only doing these little brief blog posts about things that can help in the market, when in reality,
it's all about that money.
Right. They're not really helping sellers. But I had something that I was passionate about, and I know my target market are people like me who want to make it on Etsy, who want to get to where I am, where we're able to just sell full time. And I hate seeing people, give up on their dreams. I hate seeing people just live a life that they're not happy with, and doing a 9-to-5 job, having to get up, work for somebody else. I don't have a lot of experience in the world with work because I'm only 25 and I've held 3 jobs in my life. But since that point, since I was 19, I've been able to do this and only this, to the point where I worked so freaking hard that he's able to now just do this. And, he was able to get out of the military, or not re-enlist in the military. So those are my target market, when it comes to the academy. I had a problem that I wanted to solve for the world. Now, you can see that with a lot of other products. Maybe, for example, we'll just say silicone oven mitts, for example. Cloth oven mitts, heat can go through them. They get dirty, they're hard to clean, and they can burn. I've had, cloth oven mitts burn. So one guy made this amazing invention, silicone oven mitt that doesn't melt, it doesn't transfer heat as quickly, and it's easy to clean. So he found a problem and solved it. That's what creating a great product is. And what we do as handmade sellers, unfortunately, with most of us, and
problem isn't that big.
Well, it's not that it's a problem isn't that big. It's that we don't have a problem that we're trying to solve. We think of, what do we want to do to make money? What do I want to make? What do I want? And it's not about what we want. And I'm guilty of this too. In fact, my entire product line was based around what I wanted. I wanted to make keys because I liked the design, and I assumed that everybody wanted what I wanted. And then I started, really screwing myself over by adding in bracelets and, rings and all kinds of stuff that it wasn't really consistent with my original message. But most of us, that's how we start. We think of something that we're already good at, and we think, how can I sell this, rather than thinking, what's a problem that I can solve, and developing the product around the problem. Now, it's okay to do that. I did it. I didn't know what I was doing starting out. And you guys probably worked on a strength that you already had. You created a product that you already knew how to make, or you practiced and learned how to make, not really thinking of the problem that it would solve. So what you now have to do is kind of backtrack and think about the problem that your product can solve, and also think about the type of person who needs that problem solved in the first place. And a lot of people get confused on this because they see a necklace and they say, well, what problem does my necklace solve? That was my big issue starting out. What problem could my necklaces possibly solve? It's a key-shaped necklace. It doesn't open anything. It's just it's ornamental. What problem is it solving? And it wasn't until I really got to know my market that I kind of learned a consistency. Most of the people within my target market They, I guess you could say a lot of them wanted it to be more recognized for that kind of magical, whimsical side of themselves, if that makes sense. You know, they really want the world to know that there's more to them that meets the eye. They want to feel bigger and empowered, and they want to have some type of reminder to, you know, keep them on track, keep them aligned with their goals and their visions. And I kind of took what I already knew about my target market and created a new message, because starting out, you know, this vision that I had for my product, saying that this key can represent, you know, the key to your heart, the key to success, whatever you hold close to you, your visions, your passions, your purpose, you can wear this key to remind you of that. So that was a message that I created later. You know, starting out, that wasn't the message I had. I didn't have a message. I was just making products and trying to make money just like everybody else. But in time, I really got to know my target market to the point where I was able to create this message that really, really hits home with most of them. And, you know, that's what a powerful brand does. So you have to begin thinking about those problems that you could be solving, but they don't have to be like detrimental, catastrophic problems. They don't have to be, you know, you don't have to make a life-saving product. Those problems can be as little as, you know, dry skin if you create cosmetic products. You know, moms who are searching for safe products for their families. Maybe you make organic soap and you're trying to create products that are chemical free. You know, there's a million problems that you can solve. And one of the biggest problems that he and I get by email is people message us and say, well, I make this, what does it solve? I can't tell you that. Please don't email us with those kinds of questions. We can't tell you that because we don't know your target market better than you do. Nobody does. This is
we know our target market.
Right. We know our target market. And, you know, I can usually,
I mean, honestly, it's just a matter of, we can't take the time to sit and do research for a couple thousand different target markets as narrow as they need to be.
Exactly. And you guys are the ones making the sales, making the contacts, being able to look at these, you know, these people.
I mean, if there was an easy way to just get people to come over and buy stuff, we would share that in a heartbeat.
Right. Well, if it was easy,
it's not easy.
If it was easy, would you feel as good about accomplishing it? I tell people that in the group all the time. I say, you know, if this was easy, would you feel as proud of yourself? Would it feel as sweet in the end? You know, so what I recommend, and this might be something that you want to take note on, is start building a rough profile of the type of person that you believe is your ideal customer. Think about the problem that you're trying to solve. Think about where your product fits into their life. What type of life do they have? Where you can think of things like geographical location. For example, if you sell coffee tables or large products that, you know, you don't want to ship all over the world because shipping would be hundreds of dollars. Maybe you should consider that shipping into the, you know, within your country is your best bet. So those things should all play in, but this is just a rough draft, because in time, and what a lot of people won't tell you when you listen to SEO experts, when you listen to marketing experts, when they talk about target market, they don't tell you that this target market will change and adapt and change and change and change with time. You have to allow that to evolve, right? You have to allow it to blossom and change the more you know about your target market. So first, all you have is the product that you assume that you're solving. You have the problem in mind that you want to solve and who you believe your target market, but you want to define that as much as you can. Are they men or women? You know, if, for example, the cookbook, we have this burger cookbook with flames, and it's called Badass Burgers, whatever I said it was called. We know that is targeted specifically towards men. Now, that's not to say women can't have it. He bought this giant chair that's meant for a large person, but, you know, he bought it anyway, even though it's way too big for him. But, you know, there are exceptions to the rule. Some women might want to get the Badass Burger book, but most people who are going to buy that book are men, and that's who you're trying to market to. So think about the type of person, and then think about maybe their style. You guys were very quick to tell me that Badass Burgers would be bought by bikers with tattoos. And, you know, you guys defined that. very, very well. You know, you guys niched it down to the point where if I asked you to make me some type of marketing campaign that would appeal to bikers with tattoos, I bet every single one of you could do that. I bet every single one of you could create some type of graphic, you know, that would appeal to a biker with tattoos because you've niched it.
And sometimes it's not that transparent. I mean, you do sometimes have to do your research. If you don't have a target market that you can really nail down by just sitting and thinking about it, you might have to look at some of your competitors and see what kind of places that they're posting and places that they're hanging out, stuff like that.
Yeah, competitors are a great way to do that.
That's a great way to see who they're marketing to. I mean, I'm terrible at like finding the target market stuff. My brain doesn't wrap around that very well. So for me, I have to actually sit and look at other people and see what they're doing to really get a grasp on it.
Yeah. And, you know, for target market, you could obviously, if you have no sales right now, or you only have a few and it's not enough that you can really nail down who your target market is. Maybe you just have a really hard product.
Definitely look at competitors.
Look at competitors, look at the overall feel and atmosphere and the branding of their shop. But what I also recommend is going into sales, clicking, or not sales, but their reviews, and just opening a bunch of their customer profiles who have left reviews and look at the items that they favorited. Look at the shops that they favorited. What other items are they looking at? You know, this is a great way to get a grasp on your target market. If you're creating eco-friendly products and you're going through looking at, well, what other types of eco-friendly products is this person buying? And, you know, maybe you see specific scents that are being favored. You see a particular ingredient, or maybe you even see that most people are buying soap where less people are buying lip balm. You know, this is not only is it great to narrow down that target market and learn about what they're buying, but you're also able to see how much money they're spending on those products. So you know how much they're willing to spend on products. You can take note of that.
On pricing.
Get ideas on where to align your pricing.
Well, that's kind of you kind of got to do that anyway, because you should, like you always say, be pricing in a certain percentage.
Top 10% of your market. But you can begin building a more advanced customer profile by taking these steps. And then once you start generating a few sales, even if it's just a few, you can actually go into your Etsy stats. You might want to write this down. Etsy stats, and then into the customers tab. Etsy stats and then customers. And from there, you'll be able to see exactly where on the map your customers are primarily coming from. For me, I have sales all around the globe. I've sold to, I believe, 38 or 40, probably 40 by now, 40 different countries. But most of those are within the United States. So, you know, that's something that I keep in mind. And you know, it
almost died just there.
So that's another thing that I take note of.
Right,
and
I'm gonna have to go upstairs to about to have a sneezing fit.
You're okay.
I have sneezing fits sometimes and they don't friggin' stop.
Check on the kiddo while you're up there. But anyway, so you can take note of their, you know, their location, what country that they're primarily coming from. What else did it? Oh, their device, whatever device that they're primarily shopping on. For example, most of my shoppers, or 50%, are shopping from desktop. So I know that you guys notice in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below, my banner is huge and it stretches across an entire screen because I know that most of my shoppers are shopping on desktop. But for example, when you're creating your banner, if you notice that most people are shopping on mobile, you might take note of that and create your banner to be a little bit more mobile friendly by putting most of your information that you're sticking on your banner either off to the edges or directly on the top so that your little profile picture isn't quite, you know, covering any of that up when you're looking at the Sell on Etsy app or just Etsy mobile. So those are another example that, you know, can help you out. If you know that most of your viewers are shopping from mobile, you can sometimes even get a little bit of an idea on their age. And this is becoming not as precise as it was a few years ago because most people are using cell phones now, smartphones. But a couple years ago, this was a really great tool because you knew that if most of those people were coming from desktop, they were usually a little bit older or if they were mostly using mobile, it tended to be like the younger crowd. But if you're selling products that are specifically for teenagers, that might be a cue to look at what type of device they're looking at your products on. And if you notice that they're primarily using mobile, that might be a cue that for your thumbnails, you want to zoom in on those photos a little bit, make sure that the product is showing a little bit larger since they're going to be viewing it on a smaller device. So I hope that, that all makes sense. What else did I say? Oh, and Etsy added something new. So this is something else I want to talk about that can help you with your target market. When you go into your stats tab and you go into customers, you can now see other search terms that your specific customers are using. So products that they're searching for or other keywords that they're typing in. So for example, if you make, maybe we'll say like mason jar candle holders, but then you notice that your buyers are also searching for a term like farmhouse decor, that kind of clues you in. And you can make an entire list of other things that you don't write down everything, because not everything is going to fit your products, but look at the things that you feel would go well with your products. For example, mason jars and farmhouse decor, those go good together. Maybe if you're selling those mason jar candle holders, they're also selling farmhouse, we'll say palette wall decor, things like that, palette wall decor on its own. When you're able to see those things and you can write down a list of all of those products that have common ground, they all kind of revolve around that farmhouse look, you can begin taking that information, finding that farmhouse is the common denominator for all of these different products. And then you can begin doing research on that particular niche, that particular theme. So when you know that, okay, I've got all these mason jars, they fit in with farmhouse decor, maybe I will get on Instagram and search hashtag farmhouse and see what type of people exist within this demographic. When you type in hashtag farmhouse, you're going to see everybody who's used that hashtag. Some of these profiles might give you some insight, some of them won't, but you can go through, and if you find a person that really sticks out in your mind, you see them and you look at their profile, and their profile all just comes together and creates this beautiful scene that you feel, your products fit into that scene. You feel that, wow, this is exactly the type of person I would sell my products to. Follow that person. Begin monitoring the type of things that they post. Look at the things that they're looking at. You might want to check the chat to make sure that we haven't missed anything. But then you can also take that into Pinterest. We talked about farmhouse decor. Maybe just type in farmhouse decor on Pinterest. Look at other products that exist, in farmhouse decor. Look at the type of person and the type of home. And then you can usually look at a type of home and kind of narrow down the type of person that's living in that home too. It's really easy to look at a type of home from the inside, the way that it's decorated, and learn a lot about the type of person who decorated it. For example, if you looked around our newly updated studio, which it doesn't look much different from the last Friday, but this wall that you can't see is totally different. We showed off a little bit in our video yesterday. But for example, we have some gaming posters up. So obviously, if you were looking at a photo of this room and you saw gaming posters, soundproofing foam, microphones, webcams, big, huge gaming PCs, big, expensive speakers, studio headsets, you guys could gather that for when we play video games, for two, that we're kind of nerdy, and for two, that we're doing some type of production, we're doing some type of recording. So you can always look at photos of these types of homes associated with some of the related searches that you find. And, it doesn't necessarily need to be decor. If you sell jewelry or, a clothing article or purses, you can still usually look at common themes and colors and kind of find the right type of person for your product. Because if you didn't already have a person and product and problem in mind when you started your business, like I didn't, you're not going to be able to find or make your product for your person. Later on, you can, if you want to adapt your products based on this type of person, you can definitely begin swaying and making more products that cater to this person. In fact, that's the smart thing to do. But starting out, you just really have to grab onto any straws that you can. And as you go, define this profile that you're building for this person, and try to follow more people like that so that you can keep up to date with trends that are emerging within your niche. For example, if you're selling products for college kids, maybe like those little wire choker things that all the college girls are wearing. I say that like I'm not of college age. I'm not 25. You know what all the kids are doing, but those little chokers that all the younger girls are wearing. Okay, so you sell those. You follow a bunch of college kids, and you notice that, for example, cactuses are huge right now. And they're really big for like college dorm decor and things like that. Cactuses, llamas.
Hangover cures.
Well, yeah, but well, I mean, you can make products for hangover cures. I think that
there's no such thing as a hangover cure.
Well, I think that we don't really drink, but the last time that you actually had a hangover, you drank those Monster Rehabs, and
they just make you feel kind of better. They don't really get rid of the hangover. The cure for a hangover for me is I wake up and I just chug a Monster Rehab, and then I sip a Gatorade for the next like hour or two, and it's just nonstop water all day long.
Disclaimer, we don't drink. So
not really. Maybe like once or twice a year. And if we do, it's like one drink.
Yeah. But cactus, flamingos, unicorns all over the place. Yes, those are all huge trends right now. So if you know that your target audience loves rainbows and things like that, and unicorns and rainbows, you can cater your marketing for that specific person. You know that they love pink and sparkles and unicorns. So you're going to want to create products that cater to your market. All of these things will eventually tie together into what is almost just a huge web. So and that's why I said, the hashtags are a great way to find that. And Instagram is a great way to follow people within that niche. Not necessarily, don't follow people on Instagram for the sake of just, well, I'll follow them. Maybe they'll follow me and then they'll buy from me. That is not having the right mindset, because you're focused on selling a product rather than, learning about that target market. And when you have a narrowed down target market, you'll be able to sell to them easier, because they will be able to identify you as a brand that they want to buy from. But start following people that fall into these hashtags that exist in your market, or hashtags that kind of go along with the products that you're trying to sell. And think about the type of home that they're living in, the type of clothes that they're wearing. And these can be interchangeable. You can sell home decor and still look at the type of clothes that someone's wearing. You can sell jewelry and still look at the type of home that they're living in, and use these cues to create products for them. I've got my favorite video game, Okami, which has a wolf in it, and you can look at my room and see all of these wolf themed items and assume that even though my house is decorated in wolves, that if you made a wolf necklace, that would still be something that I would buy. You have to use these cues and think a little bit abstractly. So the last thing that I kind of want to go over is my target market example when it comes to my products. And I think that by now, most of you have seen my products. You know what they are. If not, my shop is linked down below. Just open it up in another tab and take a brief look at it if you're not familiar. But I create skeleton key necklaces, and they are all very structured around fantasy themes. Some of them don't. I've got some for example, I have an infant loss key, and I have a couple other themes, but most of them are structured around animals and fantasy creatures. And this is my target market. So starting out, when I was making these keys, my thought was that I was going to be selling to like college kids and bookworms and, tattooed people and people like me. I thought I'd be selling to young people like me, keeping in mind that I was 19 when I started my business. And I had it in mind that I was going to sell to other young people. And I thought that, I'd be selling to boys and girls about equally, because the type of guys that are within, like our style, I guess you could say, most of them wear, like a little bit of jewelry. And when I started dating him, he actually wore a lot of jewelry when we first started dating.
I was a goth kid.
Yeah, he was a goth kid. I think he stopped wearing jewelry so much when he joined the military, just because it became impractical, and there
They
were
just couldn't.
yeah, and even in his free time, he just kind of gained habits of not wearing it at all. But
And our target market has kind of changed over the years
Right.
too. It's
Well-
it's adapted. Like when we first started out, it was mainly like pagan stuff, and there were a lot of Christians
Well,
that were buying our stuff.
what happened a lot with what happened was I created all these fantasy products, and then my target market kind of changed on me because I had a page that was it was a pagan and Wiccan based page that shared my products, and
they're a big part of how we got successful at the start.
They
boosted us a lot.
They had like 400,000 followers, and this is back before Facebook reach got cut. It was when you liked a page, you saw everything that they posted, and it was before Facebook had paid ads. So
that was like one of our best years.
Yeah, they started promoting my shop, just sharing cool photos that I made, and throwing out my shop link, and I was so happy. But what happened was I began getting all of these pagan customers, and I myself was not pagan, but I took time to learn about the market that was now coming to me. And I began structuring more products around the things that they liked. And I began looking at other things that this page was sharing. They shared a lot of fairy photos and dragon photos. And so I thought, okay, I need to make more dragon keys and fairy keys and keys with, little pentacles and things on them. And when I did that, my market took off. And what I noticed, even though I still had it in mind that I was going to be selling to younger people, that I was going to be selling to teenagers and college kids, when my market began emerging and I really began getting to know these people, looking at their profiles, talking to some of them on Facebook through my Facebook page, asking them questions that really revealed who they are. You can do that without being too creepy. Just start a casual conversation with one of your customers and ask them questions that are flattering to them. Wow, I love your shirt. Where'd you get it? Oh, bam, right there. You know exactly where they shop at, things like that. It helps you to get to know your target market. And what ended up happening was I thought that I was going to be selling to teenagers and college kids, when in reality, I was actually appealing more to people ages 35 to 60. And even to this day, most of my customers are over the age of 40. And I'm only 25 years old. You wouldn't look at my keys and think that it's mainly people over the age of 40 buying them because they're, they've dragons and things. But my particular niche is so strong. It's these young souls is how I describe them. These young souls who they have lost that stress in their lives. They just don't want it anymore. They have turned to a life of fun and magic, and they love Harry Potter, and they love, Lord of the Rings and fantasy. And it's just really, I guess it's like a breakthrough moment when you realize who these people actually are. And you might not know at first, starting out, you might define who you think they are, and you might realize that most of them aren't who you initially thought that they are, but that's okay. Begin adapting your marketing towards the type of person that you have revealed with time, with sales, by looking at Etsy stats, by looking at, Instagram hashtags, and by really studying the customers that you have. And then in time, what I recommend is creating a Facebook community, like I have for my business, the Art by Starla Moore Key Keepers Club, which is also linked below. I created a Facebook community for them where they can post freely. They can engage with me. And, I don't even have to market on some days. I don't have to post in there because they post for me. They post their own photos of keys and crafts that they're doing with keys and, different dragon photos and themes and cool stuff that they know, it just kind of goes along with the market. And it's turned more into a meaningful community as opposed to a place where I'm just trying to sell products. My products sell on their own now. These people know just where to go if they're ready to buy jewelry. But I'm able to keep them there through a community that appeals to my market by,
Did have a couple of questions.
So, but I think that's actually it. So we can actually go ahead and move on to questions if you guys have any, and we'll catch up on any that we've missed.
And Hannah said she had around 25 sales so far. All of her customers are using products in different ways. What do you recommend for this? Just one way. So, you really don't have enough sales to really judge that yet. I think.
Definitely.
I would just continue doing your research. Like we said earlier, start looking at your competitors. You're still kind of early in the game. So just keep an eye out. It's like I said, it's still just too early.
And
you
that's
don't have
gonna-
enough sales to really judge yet.
That's going to depend on what you sell too, Hannah.
Yeah.
Let us know down below, because I think that I've talked to you before. I'm not sure. We talk to like 3,000 people a day, so sometimes I get mixed up. But let me know down below what you sell, and maybe we can try to help you out a little bit.
And Linda said that hers was all over the place age-wise. Age doesn't necessarily have to be your target market. There can be any certain things. Like if you make flat bill hats, for instance, you're probably not appealing to 65-year-old retired people. You know, that's age doesn't have to necessarily do anything with it, but it still could be.
And Linda, the thing about your products, because she makes beautiful Native American inspired jewelry, bracelets and pendants and things, you know, Linda, you have an advantage because you're not necessarily just appealing to an age group. You've got that so niche down. You're appealing to people who have an appreciation for the culture behind these products. So what I would do for your products is run with that cultural connection, and people who really want to have a piece like that. You know, for example, I know that you have a lot of people that fall closer into that, you know, ages 40 to 60 demographic, but I saw that wolf pendant and I had to have it. So that tells you a little bit about me as a target customer. You know that I'm already obsessed with, you know, wolves and things like that. So that kind of tells you a little bit about me as a person. I connect well with that. I have tons of like deer antlers and natural like little knickknacks all around my house, you know, things like that, cool findings, rocks, gemstones that I find. So that tells you a bit about me as a younger customer, the things that really, really reside with me.
Nani said your market is now at the point in their lives where they have a more disposable income. And I got to disagree with that. You'd be surprised how many people often message us saying they're waiting for their welfare checks to come in so they can get a key.
Yeah, social
income. I wouldn't even, honestly, unless you sell really expensive stuff, ignore income as a specific target market. It can be a part of it.
Yeah, it needs to be a part,
but don't entirely make it about their income. Because we have people that all the way from like super rich that buy a bunch of keys all the way down to like the poorest of the poor who spent their last penny on our keys.
Right. And, you know, the thing is, you do want to think about income with some products, because if you're selling, say, a gold encrusted cell phone case with diamonds in it, you're not going to try to sell that to a college kid.
Of course. But I think they understand.
Yeah. A college kid isn't going to buy that. You're going to market that to like movie stars and people who live on, you know, the Hollywood Boulevard and things like that. Those are the type of people you would try to sell that to. But, you know, when it comes to just the average, you know, like a necklace or something like that, as long as we have products that are over $100 that sell to customers who honestly, you know, probably can't afford it all that much, but they saved for it. So usually if a customer wants a product bad enough, they'll buy it. It doesn't really matter. And that's why I tell you guys, don't try to be competitive with your pricing. Be competitive in quality and branding, because when you price competitively and try to price too low, you know, you're really underselling yourself. If somebody wants your product bad enough, they're going to buy it, and they're not really going to look at the price point that much. So income.
I mean, the first thing I look at when I go to an Etsy shop, I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people's shops I go to that have amazing products. Their pictures suck. The prices don't really matter. If you can't get me to the point where I want to look at the price and consider buying it, then it doesn't matter in the first place.
Right.
Let's see here. Thank you, Panda. Will it still be effective to have multiple target markets and market to two niches, since the product I plan to sell is a fusion of two different styles?
You know, I wouldn't try to, you need to focus on one before you try to move on to another. And
or figure out what kind of niche likes both.
Right. The common ground. If there's no common ground, you're going to have a really hard time selling a product. Domestic Platypus is here. That's who we bought our Nicolas Cage bath mat from. But,
I am definitely your target.
Yeah,
market,
we are your target market.
For sure.
show the mug too. We got that one from Victory Screech Labs. But anyway, you know, what was that last question? Oh yeah. So when you have two niches, you don't want to have two niches. You need to find common ground. Who is in between? If you have two niches, you've got an inconsistency with your products. You need to focus on whichever product is selling the most and try to focus on that product. You don't want to sell products just because you want to. You can't say, well, I like making this, so I'm going to keep selling it, or keep, you know, making it, even if it's not selling that well. You have to real, if you want to take this seriously, you should definitely be considering narrowing that down.
Shut up.
Narrowing that down a little bit and trying to appeal to one primary market, because you can't have a bunch of different markets.
And Cherry, just like we mentioned earlier, we really can't tell you. We don't market to your kind of target market. That's something that you're going to have to do the research to kind of find out.
Right. We're not going to be answering questions about like who
is my target market, because we start answering questions like that, A, we're probably going to be wrong quite a bit because we don't know your target market, and B, that we're just going to get flooded with emails that I'm just going to put straight in the trash.
Right.
Honestly.
So you guys have to use what I've told you today. I just gave you the tool to find who your target market is. Take everything I've told you today, rewatch the replay, take some notes on, what I've given you, and run with that, because I don't know who your target market is. They're not mine. I didn't research them. My target market, I've spent hundreds and probably thousands of hours over over what? We're on almost year 6 now, aren't we? 6 years for me to nail down my target market to the extent that I had, but I didn't have resources like you guys did. I didn't have a channel up until Renee Christine came out, or I found her, I guess you could say. I didn't have these resources available to me, but now I'm literally telling you guys exactly what to do. You just have to be able to execute it. And if you guys want to start discussions on it and get opinions and help, join the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. One thing I do want to say is we now require you to answer 3 questions to join the community. You have to make 3 promises that you're not going to advertise, that you're going to help others, and that you're going to use the group for education only, and that you understand that. And if you don't answer those 3 questions when you request to join, I will not approve you, because
there aren't any warnings anymore. When people advertise, you're just done. You're gone.
Yeah.
Where it's in our community guidelines. It's all over the place.
Right. And what I mean, like if you accidentally post something and you're a frequent person in the group and I see you helping often, I'll probably just delete your post and warn you. But for the people who just join and immediately post a link to a product in their shop,
don't want you.
Right. Because we know that you're not there to learn, you're there to advertise, and that's not what the group is about.
There are plenty of groups out there for advertising. Ours is not one.
Right.
All right. Most of my customers are from the pagan community. My best customer from that community suggests that I break out and do more things for anyone. Is it working? It is working so far, and sales are up and consistent. It just depends. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with trying to branch out and widen a little bit if you think you're being too condensed in your target market. It's all about personal preference. If you're trying to advertise to a lot of people, it's easy to get overwhelmed and it's easy to miss out on a lot of stuff.
Right. And the pagan community, if you want that to be
a big community,
it is a huge community. So if you weren't doing as well with it, maybe begin looking at the way that you're trying to funnel people into your community, because the more narrow your niche, the more likely you are to make sales within that niche. There are no products. There is no like one size fits all product for everyone. That's why there are like 100 different brands of toilet paper. There's a toilet paper for everybody. There needs to be a product for everybody. And it needs to be, one singular product. Once you find that brand of toilet paper you like, it's the one that you always buy. You always reach for that brand of toilet paper, because you get that personal preference for it. So it's really hard to begin branching out outside of your niche unless you have a goal in mind, or you have a barrier that you're going to go to. So you can say, well, I'm making these pagan products, but now I'm going to make some, like, for example, I made those pagan products, but I made a few of those, and I knew that pagans were my primary market, but I capped it at about like fantasy products. I kept it within a very
spectrum,
right? A very niche spectrum. And I didn't, take off with it and say, I'm going to make pink keys with little cute, I don't know. I already make fairies. I don't go outside of my niche to the point where I'm not being true to my brand and the image that I'm trying to represent. So once you have an image, stick to it, because if you're inconsistent, you're going to tell your shoppers and your buyers who liked you in the first place for what you were selling, the pagan products, you're going to tell them, well, I'm no longer staying true to my brand image and I'm changing it. It's a lot like when you have a favorite band and you're listening to them all the time, and then they release a new album that's completely different than anything that they've released, and it's totally outside their genre. Some people will be okay with it, and a lot of people won't be, because they'll feel betrayed. Like, oh, that band's a sellout. So you can become that sellout within your niche. So it just depends. If you're seeing more success with the broader products,
We have a lot that we're behind on.
Maybe
DSP.
begin focusing on the broader product and finding what the consistency is in the target market for that, and shy away from the pagan products a little bit, you know. It's fine.
All right. Nano's Gone Loopy Craft. I made crochet accessories and apparel for the whole family, mostly infants and children, but my branding caters to the busy mom. Am I okay or niche down? So with that kind of thing, you got to consider you're not really selling to the people that are going to be using it. You're going to be selling to the people that are going to be buying it, which in your case, the busy mom. So yeah, I mean, I think it's okay where it's at. But again, you just kind of continue doing your research. You only have 100 sales. You're still pretty early. You're still pretty new. So even if you've been around for a while, you've only had 100 sales. You're still pretty new in the game. So definitely keep doing your research. But I personally think that the busy mom is probably going to be the best person to market to.
You're catering to the person who's actually clicking the buy button, the person with the credit card in
who's
hand.
using it is irrelevant.
Right. The child isn't the one putting in their credit card number. It's the mother of the child. So your target market is the mother, not the child. Does that make sense? When you buy toys, aren't marketed to children. They're marketed towards the parents of the children.
Moon Lovers, I've heard Etsy prioritizes the first part of text for keywords. If I address a problem, should that come lower in the text? I worry folks won't read that far. I get questions about the size in the text already.
They prioritize. Etsy reads the first 40 to 45 keywords first. Do you mean in your title?
I think they're talking about in the description below the pictures.
In the actual description?
Should that come lower in the text? So they're definitely talking about the description.
That doesn't necessarily, as long as you're using your keywords consistently throughout the title as much as you possibly can, it's usually best to try to get your keywords at the top. If you watch my SEO for newbies video, which I'm pretty sure that you have, that kind of goes over putting your titles down in your descriptions, which can help boost your SEO a little bit. But the key is to be consistent with your keywords. That way Etsy can begin recognizing you for the keyword that you want to be known for. For example, all my listings say skeleton key necklace, and that's plastered throughout my shop. So I don't want to get too much into SEO today because that's kind of going a little bit off topic, but hopefully that helps.
Debbie, should my marketing strategy be directed to where my customers live? Because I can't sell my dolls at the same price here in Mexico as I sell them in the USA or Canada. It feels like two separate businesses.
Why can't you sell them at the same price? Because Etsy is going to convert those prices over for you. Is there a particular reason that you're not able to be consistent with that pricing? Or are you more worried about customer expectations? Because honestly, there are people everywhere, no matter what country you're catering to, somebody's going to pay for that product at the price point. There's going to be one market that you're going to want to focus on a little bit more usually. So whoever you're primarily selling to is what you need to focus on, but don't change your pricing to appeal to differently. If I were to shop and buy, we'll use this mug for an example from Victory Screech Labs. If I were to have bought this mug for $30 from a US seller, but then I noticed that the exact same mug was being sold by the same seller in a different shop for less, I'd be pretty mad and I would feel very betrayed and I would never buy from that shop again and I would leave a terrible review. So definitely don't do that. Don't open another shop at a different price point. That's a bad idea. Keep your prices consistent. And if somebody in a different country who has to pay more, does have to be charged a little bit more based on the country that they live in, the people who matter, your target market, will pay that price no matter what, because they want the product badly enough.
All right, Domestic Platypus has got a long one. Regarding multiple markets, to me, it really depends. I have quite a few subgroups. I found a lot of my customers are LGBTQ, and I've expanded to include a lot more straightforward items that were hard to find at reasonable prices, and they're selling really well. Likewise, I've begun offering a lot of anti-Trump products, which are also selling really well, though in general, I'd recommend avoiding politics. Then again, my branding and theme is already all over the place. So here's the thing. You're part of
pop culture,
a subculture. You're part of like the meme culture. When you're making things that are intentionally funny or intentionally controversial. So that's going to be a little bit different. Because I mean, for you could get on like Reddit or 4chan and advertise your products and probably get people to buy them. That's just part of the subculture that you're advertising to. You're going to have a bigger, broader community of people to advertise to, and it's going to be harder to narrow down exactly who your target market is, because the meme culture, the subculture, is so wide. I'm part of that subculture.
Yeah, we are big.
We are so aware of what you're talking about. So it can be kind of hard for you.
But your audience, your target
it
market
sounds
is,
like you're doing well, though.
your target market, I would really begin looking at meme culture and the type of demographic that is in, the meme culture. And honestly, he and I are a little bit older, being ages 25. We're a little bit older than the typical meme culture, but
You're almost 26 and I'm almost 27. Get
Yeah.
real.
But
You're old.
you just triggered like half of our audience by calling me old. But anyway, yeah, I think that you have a very defined niche. You just haven't been able to put it on paper yet. But when I looked at your shop, I knew exactly who your audience was because I was a part of it. So maybe if you need to study us, or get online, start searching meme compilations. Look at the people who are commenting on those meme compilations. Get on Reddit, post some photos on Reddit and ask some questions to the type of people who those products are appealing to. I think that you have a very defined niche. It's just your products are all over the place, but they still follow a very abstract but still parallel path. So I think that you're doing quite all right. I would just be memeing more, honestly. You have got some products that if you were to create like something funny to go along with them, like a funny Facebook page where you're posting memes and hilarious content, I think you could really take off with that.
See here, just a bunch of comments. Crystal, I'm not part of my target market. Out of my comfort zone, trying to learn what they want. Can you share an experience you had trying to cater to your pagan market, even though you're not pagan? Yeah. I mean, it's all just about learning.
Right. And right when I found out that I had a little bit of knowledge of, the pagan and Wiccan demographic, just because we were goth kids. So I had a little bit of knowledge, but just not enough to justify the types of questions and recommendations I was getting. I was getting requests for different types of goddesses, and I had no idea what I was looking for. I had requests for, people would message me and say, well, does this stone have any meanings? And I'm like, no, it's a stone. So I was recognizing these questions that I got, and I realized, well, these are topics that I need to research in my downtime. I need to learn about my target market and their values and the things that are important to them. Because ultimately, when you're selling a product, you want that product to appeal to the deepest values of the person. So, if you're not a part of your target market, you really have to dive in and just do that research, do the Instagram research. If there is something defined like, a religion like paganism, for example, begin doing the research. And even if you don't necessarily agree with, for example, a lot of Christian followers might think that it's weird that I did a lot of research on, paganism when I myself am not a pagan, but I'm open-minded enough to accept the market that has taken me. And I am open-minded enough to create the products that my customers want and need and will buy. And through the experience, I've learned so much about my pagan market that I could, do an entire freaking seminar on paganism and its origins and symbolism, just because I took the time and was open-minded enough to learn about it, take notes about it, and talk to my customers about the things that really, really connected to them. So you just kind of have to think outside the box and be open-minded to the things that might not necessarily align with you as a person. Okay.
Let's see here. Domestic platypus. I have a harder time narrowing down what's going on in my own head, much less what I'm making. Gamers is another big segment. Thanks for your feedback.
Awesome.
Again, gamers are part of that meme subculture. I mean, realistically, if you wanted to make like quick products, I would just get on some like comment award videos, find out what the most popular memes are. Like right now, Ugandan Knuckles is like the most popular thing in memes.
Yeah.
And just make like one product for that and just keep it consistent.
Just be careful with doing trending memes because a meme's lifespan is like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah. So
and he also said for SEO tip, if you do custom products, definitely create a listing specifically for custom item type with an image which very clearly indicates that it's for customization and enable Google ads.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a lot of people coming from Google who had previously used sites like Zazzle, Cafe Press, or even bigger engraving companies.
Oh, your products are a gazillion times better than Cafe Press.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know.
Sure. I hate Cafe Press.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And I think there were a few before that. Okay. Cindy, I sell keepsake jewelry made of flower petals. I have a very niche market. I have trouble even finding keywords. I have 229 sales on Etsy and even more do I have enough to find my target
Like I
market?
said, before you have I mean, I can't tell you that because I don't know. It just depends on if you have enough straws to grasp when you look at the people who you've sold to already. But it's never a bad time to start looking at your target market. You can do that before you even have a product ready to sell. You can do it before you have any sales. You just have to loosely define it and expect it to change with time. For flower petal jewelry, you know, though there's no keywords that surround that particular product, don't think so much about thinking of keywords that say exactly what the product is. You know, people might not be searching flower petal jewelry, but they might be searching, you know, we'll just say gifts for mom or things like that. Gifts for people, or for example, I talked about those mason jar candles. You know, though there's only so many ways to say this is a mason jar candle, but you could label it as farmhouse decor, and that could really take off. You know, you have to think abstractly and not just find a million different ways to label what your product is. There's only so many ways to say this is a flower petal necklace. What else can you say about the person buying it? Most people, when they're shopping on Etsy, they don't know what they're looking for. They're just browsing. They don't have a specific product in mind. So when we were decorating the Handmade Alpha Studio, which, like I said, we'll be revealing, you know, pretty soon, I wasn't necessarily searching for anything in particular. I was just searching, you know, I searched recording studio decor, game room decor. I didn't have anything in mind. I was just looking for anything that would go well with our room. So you have to think abstractly about the type of person and what they could be searching.
All right, that's pretty much it. If you want to go ahead and start cutting it.
All right, guys. Any last minute questions before we head off of here so we can
got to go take care of the sick kiddo.
And we have, I think, 5 orders to pack today.
Oh, I don't want to work.
You gotta work, dear.
But do it.
But if you guys didn't catch our video yesterday, we did one of our comedy series. The weird stuff we found on Etsy. It's when, you know, we have the sloth hat back here was the product that we purchased for that. And Domestic Platypus found us because that was another shop that we purchased from for the series. But if you watch that video, you can kind of see a little brief glimpse of what the office looks like, how it's coming together. My desk, at least. We're in front of his desk right now. But our hope is I'm thinking that we want to paint this back wall. And I was thinking about doing chalkboard paint. That way we could do maybe some of our videos do like actual demonstrations where I do, you know, some people use whiteboards and, you know, the flip boards to do different demonstrations and metaphors and things like that. But I was thinking if I did this with like a chalkboard wall, I would be able to do stuff like that. Our other idea was to cover it with some shelves. And anytime you guys send us products, which we're still working on the PO box stuff, we got to get this product line that I'm launching done before we, you know, get the PO box ready for our second channel that we're going to be making. But we were thinking when you guys send us products, and the products like the hat and the Judge Judy mug and Domestic Platypus is here, you know, things like that we purchased for our series or things that fans have sent us, we thought about doing the whole wall in those products. So, and fill the office with chalk dust. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was worried about. But if we use wet wipes, it shouldn't be too bad as long as we're not just like wiping them off. What are you talking about? Starla is still 19. Not quite. Not quite. I wish that I had started. I wish that I had the knowledge now, or that I have now when I was 19, because I feel like I would be miles ahead. But we all start somewhere. 19-year-old Starla had no concept of business or marketing strategies or marketing psychology. That's all stuff that I had to kind of learn on my own because I didn't go to college. I was home raising our daughter while he was in the military, working 16 hours a day. I didn't really have a lot of time for college. I just knew that I wanted to help the household somehow. So I just made some products, put them on Etsy, didn't really sell a whole lot. And in time, I realized that I needed a more precise marketing strategy. And that's when I began learning. And that's why I made this channel, so I can help other people who are struggling in that stage of business to kind of, you know, learn and get a more precise path so that they can end up where we are. Nose itches. Terry Loop microfiber to wipe the chalkboard.
Terry folds.
Do a chalkboard in the middle of the shelves.
That
Yeah.
wall's not as big as you think it is.
Yeah, but this is our space is huge. We do have a huge space.
Yeah, it's probably a good 40 feet by like 15 feet.
And we have a back kind of.
I mean, it's all filled with stuff. But
yeah, there's a back alcove back there that's like a room all in itself.
like 10 by 8.
Yeah, we're going to be sectioning that off with a curtain and making that like a smaller room for our daughter for video games and movies and stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, this has been fun and short, but I think we got a lot of info in this brief amount of time. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Next Friday, we should be keeping the time the same. Our daughter's birthday is on the 8th, but we're celebrating that weekend. However, she's in school during our normal live stream time, so it shouldn't affect the stream at all. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. I guess we will be seeing you next week. Have an awesome weekend and
Goodbye.
And goodbye. See you later.
Bye.